Welcome back to the Deep Dive series, where each episode we take a look at a different NFL team and come up with a realistic outcome and prediction for them going to the 2022 NFL season. At the end of the Deep Dive series, we're going to be doing a 2023 NFL mock draft because I am a draft channel, or that's what they tell me. It's the little shell that they put me in, the little box. It's whatever. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. And we're going over the New England Patriots. We're talking about all these playoff contenders, and you got to talk about the Patriots and Bill Belichick, because this team is actually quite a bit interesting, especially on offense when you look at, okay, who's going to be calling the plays? What are they going to be doing exactly offensively? Because there might be a bit of change going on. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty, starting with the offense. And we're going to be looking at this. There we go. But no offensive coordinator. Ooh, bit of a surprise. But who's going to be calling the plays? It's got to be Bill Belichick, right? I mean, there's going to be some speculation to what this offense will look like now that Josh McDaniels is off to, I don't know if I can say it, greener pastures, black and silver pastures. But early indicators, at least from OTAs, say that they're going to be moving more towards this outside wide zone blocking scheme, reminiscent of the Kyle Shanahan. That's right. Everyone wants to mimic the Kyle Shanahan way to do offense because it's a very successful way to do offense. Kind of is what it is. But that's a big difference compared to what they've done in years past, is they've been heavily a gap blocking scheme team. If you didn't know, Damian Harris led the league last year in the amount of carries he had on gap blocking concepts. Wow, I don't know why that was a tough sentence, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, there's this pesky little theme in my head that says Joe Judge will have a little influence on this offense, at least based on the scheme change around the offensive line. But if that, apparently that's the case, he's working with the quarterbacks, and if we're gonna see at least some fingerprint of this offense, I guess becoming more Joe Judgian, then we know it might look like what it did last year for the Giants. You would assume, and you'd be like, oh man, Jason Garrett. There we go. Jason Garrett, he had a lot to do with what they were doing offensively, and that's why you kind of saw this Coryell type of passing concepts. But I mean, I think it's safe to say that at least when it comes to Joe Judge, we'll see similar things, at least the early indicators from OTA. So maybe more shotgun, more RPOs, which I think all that works in the favor of Mac Jones, who came from a very RPO screen heavy scheme there at Alabama. If you didn't know, when he was coming out as a draft prospect, he was like first in yards off screens and RPOs by like 600 some yards, like a ridiculous amount. Like I think it was like over 70% of his passing yards came on screens and RPOs. So do with that information what you will. But I think that's a positive for Mac Jones if they're going to try to replicate some of the things that he succeeded at there at Alabama. We're talking about another thing when it came to Judge's offense back in New York, that they were 7th in the league at 12 personnel, which also makes a ton of sense since they're paying 2 tight ends quite a bit of cheddar. So yeah, Hunter Henry was pretty darn good last year. Let's get Jonnu Smith more involved. But let's actually take a look at the offense. And I'm going to let my dog in because Go Joe, he needs to be in every episode, especially when it comes to talking about the stinking Patriots, man. He hates the Patriots. He's this big Chiefs fan. Okay, bud. All right. So I kind of touched a little bit on Mac Jones, and like a lot of people, especially Patriots fans, they got They love the Mac Jones. They're like, oh, if you think Mac Jones is bad, then you're dumb. And I wouldn't say he's bad. I just don't think he's got a particularly high ceiling. I think a lot of I think maybe you're looking at a guy that's like a top 15 quarterback steadily that could occasionally be a top 12, top 10 type of quarterback year in, year out, depending on the situation going on around him. And oh man. Oh man. So they tried to get better at receiver, right? They brought in Devontae Parker. Who says division teams don't do trades? Because they do sometimes. And honestly, the Dolphins were probably happy to get rid of that contract. But Devontae Parker comes in hoping to have this new lease on being just a new lease on, hey, I can be a starting wide receiver in the NFL. And obviously, injury played a lot of that part, or played a lot into it in Miami recently. But Devontae Parker, man, he's very capable. I think he's going to get a very good shot here. And we're going to have, I think, here, Kendrick Bourne, who showed, hey, I'm pretty darn good as well last year, as he was one of Mac Jones' favorite targets. We're going to see Jacoby Myers go from outside in the slot. We know Hunter Henry was used quite a bit in the slot last year as well. Jonnu Smith's a guy you want to kind of get involved in there. So they got a lot of rotated pieces, a lot of playmakers that they can move all about. And we're not even talking about the addition of Tyquan Thornton, because I don't think we really have to. The dude's a deep vertical threat. He go fast. Ty Montgomery is a pretty good addition. He's kind of a good special teamer, first of all, and then a guy that could also take carries in the backfield. Like, he's kind of like Cordero Patterson light. So a guy that's also very flexible. So this dude that really fits the Patriot way of things here. I was gonna say, I was like, maybe you can play like a James White role, but they got James White on the roster, so they have Trey Nixon from a year ago, but woof. I think he was out of Colorado. Dude's really just a special teamer. Matthew Slater is like a guaranteed to make the roster year in, year out. The dude has been one of the best special team players of all time. Fun fact. Nelson Aguilar is there kind of the same role as Tyquan Thornton. Just, again, Aguilar's he's more proven because he's not a rookie. But he's on the last year of his deal. Really depending on what they consider Montgomery, man. I don't know. I honestly do not know if N'Keal Harry makes it on this team. He saw the most success in the slot. We're speaking in truths, and I just don't think there's a role for him there, because that's where they're going to want to get their tight ends involved. That's where Jacoby Myers could come in. Kendrick Bourne likes taking snaps in the slot as well. So yeah, I don't see N'Keal Harry being on this roster by the beginning of the season, but stranger things have happened. They bring in Lil Jordan Humphrey, again, another guy who's more of a special teamer, just fast, small guy. When it comes to their tight ends, they do retain Dalton Keene and David Asiasi, which there's guys there. I guess they're just developing at this point in time. They don't really got to do nothing when you have Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. Those are your guys. You're paying them. Those are your guys. Both are fabulous receiving threats. Hunter Henry a bit better of a blocker than I would say a Jonnu Smith, though. Jonnu Smith is also a cat you could use in the backfield. Kind of this like flex tight end, if you will. Talking about the running back position, when it comes to pass catchers, like Ramondre Stevenson's okay pass catcher, but it's your basic swings and screens for him. And you could kind of say the same about everyone else on this roster but James White and J.J. Taylor, actually. J.J. Taylor, former UDFA out of Arizona, who's seen actually some he's had some moments for the Patriots, so maybe a guy that they use a bit more. I was kind of confused with their draft selections of Kevin Harris and then Pierre Strong, because they legit all feel this. They feel like the same thing that they're getting from like a Damian Harris, just maybe a bit better long field speed. I'm not positive. What was Damian Harris's 40? I feel like it was like 4.58. 4.57. I was so close. So yeah, they got guys with better long speed, but when we're talking about how dynamic they are with the ball in their hands, I think that they're all very similar. So you could even throw Ramondre Stevens, though he's a bit heftier of a boy. So I was kind of confused what they wanted to do there with their running backs, why they took Pierre Strong to the 4th. Really didn't feel like that was like kind of like cup of tea that they're going for. I was thinking maybe like a Rashad White from Arizona State may have been better. And then Kevin Harris just was like, to me, it made no sense. But, well, I don't know, man. Again, these were day 3 guys. So it's like, is what it is. Like, hey, it's whatever. It's not like they use these. It's not like they spent like a day 1, day 2 on a running back and then decide to do it again later on for the same type of running back. These were day 3 picks. So, hey, if they're just trying to bring in some guys to create some competition, I get it. It's fine. I just wish if I'm being honest, I feel like that there was probably some other places they could have addressed. But again, we're talking about the 4th round, and it's like, is what it is. But I think we could kind of say the Patriots did make some questionable picks throughout the draft, and we'll talk about it when we get to the defense. Actually, we could talk about it right now with Cole Strange. Cole Strange was a good prospect. Like I was a big fan of him. But what was it? Pick 29? Just for me, it was a hell of a lot early. Listen, if you don't think so, then I don't know what to tell you. I think Cole Strange is coming into a great situation and playing for the right type of coaching staff. So do I think he'll succeed? Yeah. Does that still make it maybe a better pick? Probably not. If he ends up being all pro, then cool. I'm happy to eat my words. I hope Cole Strange has a very successful career. Still felt like a reach in the 1st round. Trent Brown. They list Trent Brown here at left tackle? That's interesting. I didn't see where he was lining up on the for the OTAs. To be fair, Trent Brown's also a guy that's like also hurt all the time. So did he even participate in OTAs? But honestly, Trent Brown, Isaiah Wynn, those are going to be your starters at tackle wherever they have them. It's just Trent Brown's kind of been a right tackle for a large bulk of his career, including last year, while Isaiah Wynn was at the left side. David Andrews, another guy that's just a mainstay at center for the Patriots. And then Michael Onwenu, who I was the biggest fan. I thought he was an absolute steal in the 6th. I think I had a day 2 grade on him when we were doing the 2020 draft. So yeah, like their offensive line's really good, especially if they could stay healthy. Mainly looking at guys like Wynn, Brown, even Andrews a couple of years ago went down, but like I'm not gonna hold that against them. They bring in Darrell Williams, like holla, like that is a great pickup. Is this the Darrell Williams I'm thinking of? Yeah, let's pop this sucker open. No, I really don't think this is the Darrell Williams I'm thinking of. Okay, never mind. Oh, I remember this cat from Mississippi State. Okay, yeah, definitely not the Darrell Williams I was thinking of the cat that played for Buffalo last year. That would be huge, but no, I remember. Okay, wow, they picked him up. Okay, James Fertez, I'm terrible with names. Y'all should already know this. Is also a very good reserve player. You could say. I think Will Sherman also has a lot of potential. while those guys they haven't necessarily seen a ton of time, I would say James Fortes has seen way more time than Will Sherman. But Will Sherman, I think, has shown that in a reserve role or when called upon, he can deliver. Justin Heron, I think, in a similar boat. Like, they got depth here, like guys you don't want as like season long starters, but you don't mind them filling in. Yazir Durant's a guy that I believe that was out of Mizzou. That's more of a swing tackle, which is exactly what this offense is gonna need. So they also have guys like Andrew Stuber. I wasn't a big fan of Stuber. I'm surprised they're not gonna move him to the interior. Chaz and Hines, another cat at LSU. I wasn't too high on. The only player I really was high on that offensive line for LSU was Ed Ingram. Then actually Cody Rusty, who had a banger pro day for Houston there, being a UDFA, so maybe a guy to watch out. Though there are a lot of names, but this offensive line is top 10 for me. When it comes to depth, I don't mind who they have in terms of depth. I think honestly this team they could be down one guy on the offensive line, and I have faith in like 3 or 4 of these guys stepping in and this offense not losing a step. Will we see? I think we'll see more in the we'll see more in the running game, but also in terms of maybe like screens or RPOs. And I think I kind of like made that evident by Joe Judge, talking about Joe Judge. So it's gonna be interesting to see this offense. Will it be high? I don't know. I don't really see it being high octane, but I do see it being a team that could efficiently move down the field and at least get into scoring position. Let's go ahead and then talk some defense. Yeah, they got Montgomery down here as a kick return. That makes sense to me. But talking about the defense, if you're not familiar, offensive coordinators are Bill Belichick's baby boy in Steve Belichick and Jared Mayo, former linebacker with the Patriots for quite some time. So last year, I think it was back in November, Bill Belichick said his son was calling plays, but make no mistakes, like this is a collaborative effort with Mayo. Like, Mayo's been very vocal about his vision for this defense. The players have rallied around Jared Mayo. I'm a huge Mayo fan. I love it on my hot dog. I love it on my hamburgers. I love Mayo. But regardless, Mayo was quoted saying that this team's going to be looking faster, more explosive, and they're going to put more playmakers on the field. I think out of all the teams in the NFL, this is probably the defense closest to that. Like, we've heard, a positionless defense. They're just going to get good players on the field, good playmakers. So I think this is the closest we're going to get in the NFL. Because, to some degree, we need a hog molly up front doing some damage. I can't put my safety there. So, to some degree, but I think this is probably the closest we're going to get to that. He's looking for playmakers, and I think that was evident with their 3rd and 4th round draft pick of Marcus Jones and Jack Jones. Both had 10 career interceptions, and while both might be a bit undersized, they also boast some flexibility, as they've mainly been outside corners who probably have slot size. So something to be said there. But I do like the players taken. I think Jack Jones was taken a bit early to me because he's an older player. Again, I'm not typically fans of undersized guys as early as the 4th round unless they were extraordinary. So there's things working against him, but he was a very, very good player for Arizona State. I mean, we could talk about they traded for Mac Wilson. They gave away Chase Winovich. Mac Wilson back in Bama, he had 6 career interceptions. And that was during starting a season and a half. He's been kind of slowed by injuries, but he was this highlight reel back for Alabama. That's why I think he was drafted 3rd round. I don't know. It's memory gets foggy, but this guy was kind of a highlight reel back at Bama. So I get why people really were high on him. And I think this pushes to, hey, we want more playmakers. We want guys that can really not just create maybe pressure or can just tackle well. They're looking for guys that can literally impact coverage and essentially switch the field for the offense. So they bring in him. They also bring in where are you at? Here we go. Jabril Peppers, who's kind of a positionless guy, a guy that's okay, he's kind of this dime linebacker, plays safety. You could also kick him outside, back in Michigan. He was very versatile. He was very versatile also for Cleveland, coming into the league. You have Adrian Phillips, who's a guy that wore many hats last year for this defense. I'm excited about this defense more so than the offense. In the way of pass rushers, they don't got a lot of guys that I think could get pressure exceptionally well, at least across from Matt Judon. Joshua Uche, he's more of this hybrid linebacker edge type, and the few times we've gotten to see him, they've kind of used him in that regard. Ronnie Perkins was a guy that I believe started the year hurt, but regardless, didn't really see much time at Oklahoma, who's kind of who was actually pretty darn good. Anthony Jennings, kind of the forgotten man at this point. I feel like he's more of the Dante Hightower type, as we've seen with these defenses. They like linebackers that can attack the line. Jawan Bentley, that's why he's kind of been a mainstay here. But I feel like we've kind of seen this shift at the linebacker position as they look for, no, we want guys that are fast and can impact coverage. They bring in Mac Wilson. They bring in Cameron McGrone just a couple of years ago out of Michigan. Raekwon McMillan, who was he initially drafted by? Was it the Dolphins? I think it was the Dolphins. I don't know, but formerly out of Ohio State. Another speedy guy. You got Jelani Tavai, if he makes a roster. But, I mean, I believe it. I just don't see where the pressures come in. Christian Barmore, obviously, on the interior. I have a lot more faith with their interior pressure. Lawrence Guy's he's been solid. More of a rotation guy for New England in years past. Wise Jr., has been solid, but again, these guys aren't really known as pass rushers. Even Devon Gacho, who was probably ideally going to be the nose tackle here, as Christian Barmore probably going to be playing more of that 3 to 5 tech roles. They want to let this dude loose and let him eat. Henry Anderson's always solid depth to have. Byron Cart. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible with names. I feel like he's been on the roster for a hot minute. Not seeing a lot of play. Oh, they bring in LeBron Ray is your prototypical fits every scheme guy, just not a ton of upside and a little undersized. He's that guy. Wow, a lot of Alabama guys on this front here. As we got Ryan, Christian Barmore. They bring in Mac Wilson. That's interesting. Looking at the secondary, I feel good about obviously the safety position. I think we're gonna see a ton of Devin McCourty, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Adrian Phillips. I think those guys are gonna be on the field a lot. They brought back Malcolm Butler. You gotta imagine they just want. I know that they had Jack Jones starting on the outside at OTAs. Take that crap with a grain of salt. Listen, he might end up being the starter, but typically the Patriots defense, or the Patriots, just they typically don't put rookies in starter roles right away. That's just typically like not their thing, especially when it comes to the defense. When we're talking about guys that were not highly drafted, even Christian Barmore early on took him a minute to really see the field, but a lot of people are gonna like be singing the praises of Jack Jones before we even get to training camp, before we even get to the season. But I'm not saying he's a bad prospect. I'm not. I'm just saying, real back, I think they're going to probably rely on more veteran presence on the outside. That's why they bring in Terrence Mitchell, Justin Bethel. So they bring in those guys. I think those guys are actually going to probably get the nod outside if they're not comfortable with Butler or Jalen Mills. And obviously you got Jonathan Jones, who's a phenomenal slot player, very underrated. They also have Marcus Jones, who was my favorite slot corner in the whole draft, even though he mainly played on the outside, but he's got that slot corner size. Just such a fluid athlete. Big fan of. Miles Bryant was a guy I liked out of Washington a couple of years ago, and I like tremendously, but he was a guy I liked in the late day 3. But like, I feel really good about this defense. I think this defense is gonna they're gonna do well. And I know that people are gonna be like, oh man, well look at how they like ended the year, like Buffalo like basically bent them over. And I don't think that's necessarily gonna be the case the whole time. Like, this team, like, if you're looking at it as a whole, played exceptionally well. And when the offense, they get in a rut, they can't move the ball, then yeah, the defense probably ain't going to look good because now they're on the field a ton. So I think this defense takes a step up. I think we see Mac Jones progress in year 2 and become the more competent at handling bigger moments. Like, he is like, oh man, it's 3rd and 3. Yeah, we could probably run the ball, but I'd rather put the ball in the hands of my quarterback. So I think this is going to be an interesting year for the Patriots, and I'm a Dolphins fan, so you could say I'm a hater. I don't feel like I'm a hater, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and go over my projected stars. This is where I basically take a look. I tell you who I think is going to see the field the most, who's going to be your snap leaders. Don't really care too much about base defenses or base even offenses, but I think this is more particular for the Patriots, they're probably going to put a lot more speed on the field this year. So let's go ahead and get to it, starting with the offense. We've got Mac Jones, we got Damian Harris, Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne. I think those are the guys that are going to be started on the outside, as well as Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. And then we got Isaiah Wynn, Trent Brown. Those are your starting tackles wherever they may lay. Or wherever they might end up. I just assume they're probably going to end up playing where they did last year. Michael Waynu at right guard. I got Cole Strange at left guard, and then David Andrews at center. Looking at the offense, as you can see, I got a lot of speed on the field. 6 defensive backs, I believe, altogether. But Matt Judon, the dude's going to be on the field a ton. They're paying him a lot of money, and he's doing quite well. Christian Barmore, I think, is going to see the field a lot more. And Devon Gacho was probably, outside of Barmore, their best interior player, a guy that can play nose. Jawan Bentley, Mac Wilson. Like I said, I think they made that Mac Wilson trade for a reason, and I think they're going to be playing him quite a bit. Malcolm Butler, Jalen Mills, Jonathan Jones, Devin McCourty, Kyle Duggar, and Adrian Phillips. Very interesting defense there. But let's go ahead and get to my predictions, as I have the New England Patriots going 9-8. We're at this point where we're talking about playoff teams, and there's a lot to be encouraged about with these teams. But at the same time, like, do I think the Patriots are going to be like be able to compete, at least when it comes to like the playoffs, to like teams like the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Bills? No, I don't. I honestly don't. Like, looking at the schedule here, because they actually have a pretty tough schedule. They're 11 of their game, at least in terms of this. My predictions, they're like 11 of their 17 games are against winning teams. So like I got them losing to the Dolphins at the beginning of the year. Patriots fans be like, "Oh, of course you do." Don't worry. I got y'all going 2-4 in the division, but I'm pretty sure you get a win over the Dolphins, so don't fret. But we did it last year. Dolphins did it to y'all last year. Shut up. Take your L. I got a big L right here for you to take. I got y'all beating the Steelers. Look, you beating the Ravens. Got to face the Packers. Browns are a mystery. Can't wait to get to them because until we hear stuff on Watson, like big question mark. But I think it was the Bills. I had y'all lose to the Dolphins twice. Maybe I am a mark. I didn't know that. I thought I had it the other way around with the Bills. Well, it is what it is. Either way, you could say it vice versa. Like, I think the Dolphins and the Bills, those are two very good squads. I think the Dolphins are a bit closer to the Patriots than they are the Bills, at least at this point in time. We'll be seeing the Dolphins pretty soon. Like, don't fret. But, yeah. When it comes to bad, like, I don't think I have a bad loss. Like, even if you take away one of the Dolphins losses out of the two I gave y'all, you think you're gonna beat the Bills twice in a season? I don't think so. Y'all might lose twice to the Bills. I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of like you can lose. I think they could lose to the Browns. There's a lot of these games like Colts is a toss up. I think Minnesota's gonna be a toss up. Like I talked about Minnesota earlier this week. I'm actually a huge fan of. You're gonna be facing Arizona with DeAndre Hopkins back. So this Raiders team that got so much better. So I don't know. Like yeah. 10 wins is definitely doable, definitely possible for the Patriots. I got them at 9-8. That feels like a safer prediction. I bet you they're probably over at under. It's probably 10.5. Win total over under NFL. Excuse me. All right, looking at current Vegas betting odds. Dude, the Patriots are at 8.5 over under. Ooh. And you know what? That's still a number I'm like, I don't know if I want to touch that. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comments section below, Patriots fans. I think you're a team that, after losing Tom Brady, is headed in the right way. So, yeah, like, the defense looks good. The offensive line is good. You could probably do more with your playmakers on offense, bringing probably better like other guys, like, but I think it's fine enough. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead to the YouTube thing, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another one of these suckers. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.